If you are the lucky owner of either Photoshop or Photoshop Elements, then you can cut out the background images from your photos to make them blend into any color background that you wish. So these sometimes annoying white backgrounds that you'll often see can be transparent. So I'm going to be going through this with two different techniques. The first one is how to get rid of a solid colored background like this one. This is the easiest. And then we'll do a more complex one that has is just a snapshot with a complex background that we have to cut out. So step one, what we're going to do is use our little magic wand over here, and all you have to do is click in the white and that will select everything. If you need to select an extra little part down here, if you hold down the Shift key, this is all PC, but I believe this works the same way on a Mac. Hold down the Shift key and you can add extra parts by clicking again. In this case I got it in one click, and here's a cool little thing. We're going to, that selected all the white, but we want to take the jump out in this case, cut out the unit, not the background. So we're going to select the opposite. So we're going to go to Layer, Select, and we're going to select the inverse. So that's the opposite. So now it just selected the unit itself. And I just learned a really cool little shortcut. It's Control J. So I'm going to do Control J. And what that did, if you look over here, is it cut it out and put it onto a transparent background. So all we have to do is drag the original image into the trash can down here, and now you have a cutout transparent image. Now when you save for a website, you always want to go to File and then Save for Web, because we also want to maintain this transparency. This checker pattern is just there to show you that it's transparent, and when it's on top of anything else that will be gone. So we can either use a GIF or GIF, depending on what you want to call it, or a PNG, and these are just different quality levels. I tend to use PNGs, but you can use whatever you wish. Just make sure that you're keeping that transparency. And you can see down here that we started with 723K, and when we're done it's going to be 118. So we're actually making it smaller, but as you can see with this side-by-side comparison, they look almost identical. So we can do save like that, and now we have a transparent image that we can use in any of our website applications. So now let's go back and take a look at a more complex photo. Okay, so I've got a monster truck unit here, and I just took this picture in a driveway, and we want to cut this out so that it sits nicely on our website, doesn't show our ugly garage. And while we're at it, I will show you how to get rid of this, because I bought this as a used unit and it's got somebody else's information on there, and we don't want that on the website. So but it got stuck in the photo. So let's use the clone tool. It's over here. I'm going to select the clone tool, and the first thing that you do with the clone tool is you select an image area that you're going to be copying from. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key and select this blue up here, and now it's going to be looking at that area. As you can see, when I left click, it's looking to that area as I draw over here. And anytime I want to reselect that draw from area, I can just pick another one. Now I am by no means a Photoshop expert, and I'm sure that there are people out there that would tell me better ways to do this. The other thing that you can do is, in this particular scenario, this is taking a while, I'm going to pick a slightly bigger brush size, and we're going to go at it again here. So it does a nice job of getting rid of things. If you've got a time date stamp that accidentally got onto your photo, this is a good way to get rid of that. If you've got something like a tree in the foreground or background that you don't want, you can get rid of it using this technique. It's a good way to spruce up your photos a bit. So at this point, you got to remember it's going to be smaller. That's probably good enough for what we're doing. That was a little aside there anyway. So let's go in and find the lasso tool. And there are several different ways to go about this. I don't recommend the freeform one unless you have a nice drawing tablet. I would use, most of the time I use the polygonal lasso tool, but you can try the magnetic. I'll show you what the magnetic does real quick. It takes its best guess as what you're trying to look for. So you can see it does a decent job of finding lines, but it misses. And I find that you spend more time correcting that kind of thing than if you had just used the polygon tool in the first place. So I'm going to go back to this, and you're going to click and use the let's see, the Alt key, I believe. Yeah, in fact, you don't have to use any keys at all. I'm used to holding down the Alt key to add things. And I'm just going to keep clicking around here. And so that you don't have to watch me do all of this, I'll just do a couple more lines. One thing I should point out is that if at any point you want to zoom in a little bit, you can use the Control plus key as the shortcut, and that zooms in so you can get a little bit closer, see what you're doing. I'm just going to keep clicking here. Okay, I've basically got it cut out at this point, but I would like to show you a couple ways that you can correct if you grab some of the wrong stuff. So I left a couple kind of blatant mistakes in here so I can show you. So I'm going to go zoom in into this area over here, and as you can see, I selected outside of what I should have. So while I pick up that polygon tool, I can hold down the Alt key, and that's a subtract as opposed to, in fact, you can see the little minus sign, as opposed to the Shift key that adds a plus sign that adds to your selection. So we want to delete this little section here that I overshot, and all you're doing is making a giant loop. So all this stuff, all we really need to do is get rid of this, but if I go all the way out here, double click, and that deselects it. And then if I want to add a selection somewhere else, I can do that as well. Let's see. If we want to, up here I didn't quite get it all the way, so let's zoom into this area, and you can draw a line around that as well. So let's go in and do a tiny bit of this. And remember, these things are going to be smaller in the end anyway, so you don't necessarily have to be this particular, but I'm going to go ahead and add the Shift key here and add in some of this tire. Alright, and once you have a good outline of everything, it's going to be just like what we did on the last image. Okay, so now we have our image cut out, and I did this kind of quickly, but really you can get to the point that you can do one of these cutouts in even with the complex backgrounds in just a few minutes. So we're going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to hold down the Control key, which I believe is the Command key on a Mac, and hit J, and that pastes it into a new layer with a transparent background, so I can throw away the first image. And now we have this cut out. We got rid of the graphics that were on front, and I still have this back here, so if I wanted to, it would be easy enough to use this polygon tool and click a little box here and make this transparent as well if you want this to shine through. This is up to you as to whether or not you want to do that kind of a thing, but you can cut out the background just like that as well. So if you have windows on items, not a problem. So once again, you would just go to the file and save for web, and you can see that when you have this zoomed in, I've got some stuff that I should probably clean up, but you get the idea. And what we're going to do is either save it as a GIF or a PNG just like before, and you're all done. By the way, once again, this is a large image, so we went from 27 megabytes down to 1.4, so that's still too big for web purposes, but if we wanted to, it'd be easy enough to go in here under image and resize using the resize and image size, and we can just bring that down. So width, it's at 13 inches right now, which is huge. So let's do something more like 5 inches, and resolution's way higher than it needs to be, but that's fine. We're going to be saving it for web in a second anyway. And now if we go to save for web, you'll see that the image size, new size, so let's make this I don't know, let's say 700 pixels, and apply, and there we go. Now we went all the way down to 89K, so that's 89 instead of, we started at 27,000. So, and still looks good. It'll look great on your website. So hope that helps out. If you got any questions, let me know. Although I am not the Photoshop expert, we do have Photoshop experts on staff, so shoot me an email if you got a question. Thanks. We'll see you in the next video.